Welcome, everyone. Get ready, because today we are embarking on a truly elite explainer. We are completely decoding the Cambridge AS and A-Level Accounting 9706 exam. Specifically, we're tearing down the walls around unit job and batch costing principles. If you have ever stared at a complex, multi-part, high-tariff accounting question, you know, those massive 9 to 15 mark monsters, and felt completely lost on where to even begin, you are in the exact right place. Today, we are putting on the examiner's lens. We are going to transform exactly how you approach these problems, showing you the exact architecture examiners use to award top-tier marks. Let's get right into it.
Look at this quote, directly from the Principal Examiner Reports. They call this topic one of the most misunderstood areas in accounting. Think about that for a second. The people grading your papers are explicitly telling us that this is where the wheels fall off for most candidates. The stakes are incredibly high here, and it's where countless students bleed their hard-earned marks. But listen, we aren't just going to accept that statistic. We are using real, data-backed insights directly from the grading floor to fix this problem today. We are going to turn this massive pitfall into your absolute greatest scoring advantage.
So, here is the big question. Why do students find multi-stage analysis and method marks so incredibly hard? Why does this specific topic ruin so many grades? Well, let's dive into the anatomy of these questions. The truth is, it is rarely a lack of basic accounting knowledge. You probably know your formulas. The breakdown happens in the methodology and understanding the command words. Think about the difference between analyze and evaluate. Analyze means breaking down the numbers, right? But evaluate requires you to pass judgment based on those numbers. Or consider explain versus to what extent. Explain is just giving a reason, but to what extent means you have to argue both sides and weigh their validity. That's the hidden constraint of the prompt. It's about how you piece the puzzle together under intense exam pressure, matching your knowledge to those specific command words.
To solve this, we've built a highly structured roadmap. First, we'll cover the core principles. Second, we'll map out the procedural framework. Third, we'll tackle critical analysis strategies. And finally, we will expose the top examiner warnings.
Section 1. Core Principles, the Theoretical Foundation.
We need to shift our focus right now to the underlying architecture of the exam questions. Before you can execute a single calculation, you absolutely must understand what the examiner is trying to measure. Every question targets these distinct cognitive domains: knowledge and understanding, analysis, and evaluation. These are your AO1, AO2, and AO3. The examiners aren't just checking if you memorized a costing formula. They are actively testing your ability to operate across all three of these domains at the exact same time. Top-tier scholars demonstrate absolute competence in every single tier.
And here is a crucial secret pulled directly from the examiner reports. Top candidates do not treat unit job and batch costing principles in isolation. The theoretical architecture of this topic rests on precise definitions, causal relationships, and integration with other syllabus areas, like absorption costing or marginal costing. If you can reference cross-topic connections in your answers, you're going to achieve significantly higher marks. It proves to the examiner that you have a holistic mastery of accounting, not just isolated rote memorization.
Section 2. The Procedural Framework, Executing the Method Mark Strategy.
This is where we shift gears from simply what to know to the absolute nitty-gritty of exactly how to execute. To explain this, let's imagine two scholars working in a digital study suite. Alex, who is highly technical and excels at formulas but struggles with open-ended writing, and Sam, who is a creative thinker, strong at arguments but struggles with structural precision and timing. Both need to master the method mark strategy. This is a grading principle where marks are awarded for the process and systematic execution, not just the final answer. Alex might focus solely on getting the final number right, while Sam might write a great essay but mess up the foundational math. What they both need to realize is that if you mess up a calculation early on, but execute the accounting principles perfectly for the rest of the problem using that flawed number, you can still secure massive points. The process matters just as much as the result.
So how do our scholars guarantee those method marks? You follow this exact 6-step procedural framework. Step 1. Deconstruct the question. Sam often gets lost here by jumping into conceptual arguments without reading the constraints. Step 2. Extract relevant data. Step 3. Select your analytical framework. Step 4. Execute with clear notation. Now, Alex usually skips right to this step, rushing the math without showing the work, which kills method marks. Step 5. Verify results. Step 6. Present with correct terminology. If Alex and Sam debate how to tackle an essay layout, I tell them this specific procedural flow cuts right through the chaos, ensuring Alex gets marks for showing the work and Sam gets marks for a structured argument.
Let's look at the specific data skills required during that extraction phase. Data interpretation is absolutely critical. You must be able to extract, literally pulling raw, relevant figures from dense, overwhelming texts and tables. Then, interpreting, identifying the financial relationships between those figures. How does direct labor impact the factory overhead in this specific batch? And finally, concluding, drawing evidence-based conclusions from what you found. This is how you systematically mine the source text for gold.
And this brilliantly illustrates where so many easy points are secured or tragically lost. Presentation. You literally must adhere to strict presentation conventions, proper headings, correct terminology, appropriate formats, and crystal clear annotation. If your work is a messy scramble of numbers floating on the page, the examiner physically cannot award you those method marks we just talked about. Memorize these conventions. They are the professional packaging that sells your brilliant accounting logic.
Section 3. Critical Analysis Strategies. Unlocking Higher-Order Assessment Objectives.
Okay, before we solve the hardest part of the problem and unlock these higher-order strategies, I want to take a quick pause. If you are finding this breakdown valuable and want to truly master your Cambridge exams, make sure you subscribe to the channel Ace the Exams IGCSE O and A levels. That's at @acetheexam_IGCSE. Enable all notifications right now by clicking that bell so you never miss a weekly Cambridge breakthrough strategy. We are dropping masterclasses like this all the time. All right, let's get back into it. We are now tackling the high tariff questions. You absolutely have to understand the difference between a descriptive level answer and an evaluative level answer. A descriptive answer just tells the examiner what the data is. A high-level evaluative answer demands that you evaluate alternatives, compare different approaches, and provide justified recommendations based on financial evidence. It's the difference between being a junior bookkeeper and being the chief financial officer. So, let's say our scholars, Alex and Sam, are actively drafting a model response paragraph by paragraph. They usually hit a major roadblock right here, struggling with timing and paragraph linking. Alex writes purely factual bullet points, while Sam writes paragraphs of unlinked opinions. I would have to step in and give them this exact formula for comparative analysis. Step 1. Identify similarities and differences. So many students only do one or the other. Step 2. Use comparative connectives like whereas, conversely, or similarly to link your thoughts. Step 3. Support every single comparison with hard numerical evidence from your earlier calculations. And Step 4. Draw firm conclusions on their relative importance. This transforms a mediocre answer into a flawless full-mark response.
This all ties back to the overarching cognitive strategy we call the deconstruct, solve, evaluate flow. Identify the given information, break it into logical steps, solve it systematically, check it for reasonableness, and finish with a justified recommendation. This is your playbook. If you internalize this specific flow, no convoluted, multi-stage question can intimidate you because you have a standardized operating procedure for every single prompt.
Section 4. Top examiner warnings. Traps to avoid.
Now we enter the final high-stakes workshop segment of our explainer. We've talked about exactly what to do. Now we need to talk about what absolutely not to do. There are exactly 3 critical repeating mistakes that examiners see year after year. These are the completely unforced errors that cost highly intelligent students their top grades. Let's grade them down systematically so you never fall into these traps.
Let's do a quick spot the flaw exercise. Imagine a student answer on the screen. The math is right, but it's just a block of text. What's the error? Mistake number 1. Forgetting to include proper formatting in your costing principles, which literally throws away easy marks. What if the answer looks okay, but there are no units or currency symbols? Mistake number 2. Rushing at the end and forgetting to check format and presentation. And the final flaw? Imagine an essay that perfectly describes batch costing, but doesn't mention the factory from the prompt. Mistake number 3, the most fatal of them all, providing generic textbook answers that are not specific to the unique context of the business scenario provided. That brings us to the ultimate examiner alert. Always link every single point to the given scenario. Context is absolutely everything. If the question is about a specific manufacturing batch for custom bicycles, your evaluation must talk about the realities of that specific custom bicycle batch, not just general costing theory. Why might their specific labor costs fluctuate?
If you aren't applying your knowledge directly to the scenario, you simply aren't scoring the points.
Before we wrap up, I want to give you a surprisingly simple psychological tool to help retain all of this. It's a memory hack. Use a visual story method to encode these concepts. Picture a physical factory floor. Visualize the raw materials moving step by step through the deconstruct, solve, and evaluate stations. Tying this highly technical framework to a mental visual story will help you instantly recall our 3 core pillars: the 3-step question scan, the paragraph balance formula we use for evaluation, and the last 5 minutes review checklist for your formatting.
And that brings us to our final question. Are you ready to deploy the MethodMark strategy and outsmart your next exam paper? You now have the exact architectural blueprint that examiners use to grade your papers. You know how to extract data, evaluate alternatives, and format for maximum method marks. Crushing Cambridge exams requires consistent strategy. So to make sure you keep getting these insights, hit that subscribe button for Ace the Exam's IGCSE O and A levels. That's at AceTheExam_IGCSE. Turn on the notification bell for future exam hacks, and right now, leave a comment below with your exact target grade. Put it out there. Keep pushing, stay structured, and I will see you in our next explainer.